Hey guys, we are in our free online coaching classes for the NET examination, and this video will be the lecture 12 in this series, and the topic is the cyclone, and the book which I referred is the Pratyogita Darpan exam oriented series, and join CSIR UGC NET Earth, Atmosphere, Ocean and Planetary Sciences by Surendra Kumar. Welcome to my channel Success Guru and myself Panjanathan, and let's get into the heading. The cyclone. Actually, a cyclone is a general term for a weather system in which the wind rotates inwardly to an area of low atmospheric pressure. So, the term cyclone implies that there is a low pressure in the wind system, weather system, and the wind is actually moving towards it in a rotational fashion. So, there will be a question in your mind: if there is high pressure in the center, what happens? So if there is a high pressure in the center, what happens? Actually, the wind moves from the center outwardly in a rotational fashion, and such a system is called as actually an anticyclone. So the cyclone implies there is a low pressure in the weather system and the wind is actually moving towards it in a rotational fashion. Okay. So the rotation is actually in a clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere and counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. So let me introduce you few terms which you might have heard in the newses like hurricane, typhoon and the tropical cyclone. Actually the hurricane, typhoon or the same weather phenomena like a tropical cyclone. A tropical cyclone is a generic term used by the meteorologist to describe a rotating organized system of cloud and thunderstorm that originate over a tropical or subtropical water and has close to low level circulation. The weakest tropical cyclone are called as tropical depression. If the depression intensifies such that the maximum sustained wind reaches 39 miles per hour, the tropical cyclone becomes tropical storm. And once the tropical cyclone reaches a maximum sustained wind of 74 miles per hour or higher, then it is classified as hurricane, typhoon, tropical cyclone. That is according to the place where it actually forms. That is according to the geography of its origin. If it is formed in the North Atlantic or Central North Pacific and Eastern North Pacific, then it is called as an hurricane. If the same system, if it is formed in the Northwest Pacific, then it is called as an typhoon. Meanwhile, if it is formed in the South Pacific or in Indian Ocean, it is generally termed as a tropical cyclone. So let us see the size of the cyclones. Actually, a largest low pressure system are the cold core polar cyclones and extratropical cyclones, which actually lies on the synoptic scale, say that is in the range of 5,000 km in diameter. The warm core cyclones such as a tropical cyclone or a mesocyclone and polar lows lies within a smaller mesoscale, that is say up to 500 km, and the subtropical cyclones are in intermediate in size. So the polar cyclones are the largest of all and the tropical cyclones are the smallest of this cyclone. So let us see the structure of cyclone. The main part of the tropical cyclone are the rain bands, the eye and the eye wall. Actually in a hurricane or a cyclone or whatever you call, the center is relatively calm, generally clear area of sinking air, and the less windy region is known as the eye. And the strong wind that gets closer to the eye, surrounds the eye is called as the eye wall, and the curved band of clouds and the thunderstorm that trails away from the eye wall is in a spirally fashion is called as the rain band. So the centermost portion where there is no much disturbance is called as an eye. The portion which is just surrounds the eye is called as an eye wall, and the overall cloud that rotates in a spirally fashion around it is called as a rain band. So near the center, the pressure gradient force, that is the pressure in the center of the cyclone compared to the pressure outside the cyclone, and the Coriolis force must be in an approximate balance, or what happens, the cyclone would collapse on itself as a result of difference in pressure. The wind flow around the large cyclone is counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere, and this is due to the Coriolis effect. So we had already mentioned this thing, that is clockwise rotation in the southern hemisphere and anti-clockwise rotation in the northern hemisphere for a cyclone. So that is due to the Coriolis effect. So let me explain you the term the Coriolis effect. When two objects moving, that is in the base object is actually rotating and an object that actually moves about it in a straight line, that actually feels you there is it takes a curved path. So this base that is actually rotating and this object that is actually moving in a straight line. But when you are observing this object from the base, you might feel that it takes a curved path. Actually, it is moving in a straight line. So this apparent deflection of an object is called as an Coriolis effect. And in anticyclone, what happens? This Coriolis effect actually induces the anticyclone to rotate in clockwise direction in northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. So this image shows an explanation for the detail of the Coriolis effect on different portion and different directional movement of that portion. So let us see the formation of cyclone. The tropical cyclogenesis involves the development of a warm core cyclone, and that is due to the significant convection current. As you know, the convection current takes place in a fluid medium to transfer heat energy. So when the surface of a water body or land got heated, the same heat is transferred to the atmosphere just above it. So what happens when the bottom portion got heated up, that portion of air mass get expands, and that expansion leads to the reduction or reduce in density. When there is a low density in the lower portion, what happens? That portion will move towards up, and comparatively there will be higher density in the higher elevation, so that will move towards the down. So such a movement of is called as an convection current, and that is the actual source of the formation of the cyclone. And there are actually 6 main requirements for a tropical cyclogenesis. The first one is that sufficiently warm sea surface temperature, which is actually available in the equatorial region, the first one. The second one is that atmospheric instability. So when there is lots of wind, then the atmosphere will be unstable. So that is the second requirement. Then third one is the high humidity in the lower to middle level of troposphere. So this is also due to that when there is a water body, what happens when the sun hits the water body, there will be formation of water vapor. That leads to the presence of humidity. Then the next one is that enough Coriolis force to develop a low pressure center. And the fifth one is that the pre-existing low level focus to all disturbance. And the last one is that low vertical wind shear. So these are the 6 main requirements for the formation of a tropical cyclone. And actually an average of 86 tropical cyclone of tropical storm intensity forms annually worldwide, with 47 reaching hurricanes or typhoon strength and 20 become the intense tropical cyclone, at least of category 3 in intensity. So this has been classified by Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. So this classification is based on the wind speed. If the wind speed is say within 38 miles per hour, then it is called as a tropical depression. If it is in the range of say 39 to 73, then it is called as a tropical storm. If it crosses 74 miles per hour, then it can be categorized into 5 classes or categories according to this tropical cyclone 1, 2, 3 or 4. So if you know the speed of the wind, you can categorize yourself with this class by Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale.
Having trouble in understanding geology concept?
Looking for one-to-one virtual class environment? Then you are in the right place. GeologyAssignmentSupport.com is here to help you in your studies. We have an expert team in all branches of geology, with doctorate and 8+ years of teaching experience. We are ready to help you in your studies. For more details, check our website. Link is in the description.
Hurricane scale. So let us see the types of cyclone. There are actually 6 types of cyclone. The first one is the polar cyclone. Then there is a polar lows. Then there is an extra tropical cyclone. Then subtropical cyclone. then tropical cyclone, and lastly the mesocyclone. So let us see one after the other. The first one is the polar cyclone. A polar or subpolar or an Arctic cyclone, also known as the polar vortex, is a vast area of low pressure which strengthens in winter and weakens in summer. A polar cyclone is a low pressure weather system usually spanning 2000 km to 5000 km in diameter. In the northern hemisphere, the polar cyclone has two centers of formation. The first one is in the near the Baffin Island, and the second one is near the northeast of the Siberia. In southern hemisphere, it tends to locate near the edge of the Ross ice shelf, that is near 160 west longitude. When the polar vortex is strong, what happens? The westerly flow actually descends to the Earth's surface. When the polar cyclone is weak, what happens? There is a significant cold outbreaks occur. The second one is the polar low cyclones, that is a polar low. A polar low is a small scale, that is a short-lived atmospheric low pressure system, that is also called as a depression in the polar region, that is found over an ocean area poleward to a main polar front in both northern as well as in southern hemisphere. This system usually have a horizontal length scale of less than 1000 km and exist for no more than a couple of days. Then the third type is the extratropical cyclone. An extratropical cyclone is a synoptic scale of low pressure weather system that has neither tropical nor polar characterization, that being connected with fronts of horizontal gradient in temperature and a dew point, otherwise known as a baroclinic zone. These are the everyday phenomena which, along with anticyclone, drives the weather over much of the Earth system. The fourth one is the subtropical cyclone. A subtropical cyclone is a weather system that has some characteristics of a tropical cyclone and some characteristics of an extratropical cyclone. They can form between the equator to a 50-degree parallel. As early as 1950s, meteorologists were unclear whether they should be categorized as a tropical cyclone or extratropical cyclone, and used the term as quasi-tropical or semi-tropical to describe this hybrid cyclone. By 1972, the National Hurricane Center officially recognized this cyclone category, that is a subtropical cyclone. The fifth one is the tropical cyclone. A tropical cyclone is a storm system characterized by a low pressure center and a numerous thunderstorm that produces strong wind and the flooding rain. A tropical cyclone feeds on heat released when the moist air rises, resulting in the condensation of water vapor that contains in the moist air. The last one is the mesocyclone. It is actually a storm scale region of rotation, that is a vortex, typically of around 3.2 to 9.7 km in diameter within a thunderstorm. Mesocyclones form when a strong change of wind speed and or direction with high wind shear set part of a low part of an atmospheric spinning in invisible tube-like rolls. So the first requirement for the formation of mesocyclone is that there will be a strong change in wind speed and the direction, and the convection updrift to the thunderstorm then drew up the spinning air, tilting the rolls oriented upward. So due to this convection, what happens? This horizontal rotation will be tilted and it will become vertical, and causing the entire uplift to rotate as a vertical column, and that leads to the formation of tornado. So a tornado is formed from a mesocyclone, which is actually generated when there is a strong change in wind direction, wind speed as well as in direction. So I hope this is sufficient for this topic. If you still have any doubts, you can just we can just discuss in the comment section. And as many of you were asking about the WhatsApp group, what I'm planning is the WhatsApp group is for the discussion which we are talking about. So if you want to join our WhatsApp group, you just there will be a a small amount of one-time registration charge. So if you still want to join our WhatsApp group, you can just mail your details to my email ID and I will just contact you about the details. I group my videos according to the category that you can check in my playlist. You can connect with us by mail, Facebook and Instagram, and these are the links. You can support us by like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.